Hello and welcome back to another Django tutorial. In today's tutorial we're going to start our Django project. Before we get started, let's just discuss what a Django project is. Django project is the whole project, it's the whole application or site. And then there's little apps that go into it, kind of like plugins that give our site functionality. Alright, so in this part we're just going to build the whole project. And the cool part about it is Django has a command that will do it for us. And that command will actually set up some files, default files for us and stuff. So that's what we're going to do in today's tutorial. We're going to work through making sure we have everything set up, because I know people like to bounce around on YouTube, and we want to make sure we have everything set up before we go ahead and build the project, because if we don't have everything in order, then the project might not work properly. So we're going to build up, work up to initiating the project, and in the next video we'll actually go through and look at what Django actually built. Alright, so let's get started. First thing we want to do is we want to change directories into our virtual environment that we built in the previous tutorial. So how do we do that? Well, we go cd, and for me it's going to be desktop /Django /template, just like that. Alright, and now I should be in that virtual environment. And how can I tell if I'm in that virtual environment, or the directory that holds my virtual environment? I can use ls, and if bin right here, if bin's in there, then I'm good to go, because when we start the virtual environment, one of the directories that virtual env builds is bin, and that's how we activate it. So let's go ahead and build it, or activate it, I should say. Let's go ahead and go source bin /activate. Alright, and now we've activated our virtual environment, and we can tell by the parentheses and the name of our virtual environment, template. Cool. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is make sure we have Django installed. And how do we do that? Well, we do something like this. We do python -m Django, not like that, Django, spelled that way, and then -- version. Now we want to make sure we have version 1.10.2 installed, so we'll check that out. And I do. I have 1.10.2 installed. Great. Alright, yours should look the same. Now we want to make sure we're on version 1.10.2 because Django changes quite often, and if we don't have 1.10.2, if it's something like 2.0 or something like that, then our tutorial series may not work. And if 2.0 comes out, believe me, I'll probably build a new one, new tutorial series. So anyway, let's also make sure you have the proper Python installed, so we can do a Python 3 for me, -- version, and that I have Python 3.5.2 installed. Great, that's the one we want. If you got an error with Python 3, it might just be Python, like this, -- version, and that should show something. If I hit enter there, mine's going to show Python 2.7. Anyhow, let's go ahead and start our project. Alright, how do we do that? Well, we're going to type Django, and then we're going to do admin, well, -admin, alright, and then start project, and then the name of our project. Since we're going to be building a template in the first part of this tutorial series, a template that we can use for the future, we're just going to call it template. Alright, and we'll hit return or enter. And now this is going to go ahead and build it for us. But we don't see anything through the terminal, so we don't know if it actually ever did anything. Go ahead and open up your Finder, or what's it, Explorer called, I think, on Windows. Finder or Explorer. I'm having a hard time talking today. Anyhow, I'm going to go to desktop, I'm going to go to Django, and I see template in here. I'm going to go to template, and then this is my virtual environment, bin include lib pip selfcheck.json. That was all built by virtual env, and then template right here was built by Django. If I click on template, I'm going to see a manage.py, which is a very important file in Django. We'll be using that quite often. I'll explain that in the next tutorial. Next thing we see is template. So we got template, 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 and next, if we click on template, we got init py, settings py, urls py, wsgi py. All right, they're all Python files, and I'll explain them all in the next tutorial. One last thing we want to do in this tutorial is let's go ahead and initiate our Git repository. So back in your terminal, let's go ahead and cd to the next template. All right, now we're going to go git init, and this is going to initialize our Git repository, and it's empty now. All right. If you go into your Finder, I don't know if mine's going to show it. No, it's not. If we had a text editor open, you would see a .git, and that is where the repository lives. Okay. Anyhow, all right. So we initialize the Git repository, but it doesn't have anything in it. It's just initialized. It's sitting there hanging out. It's empty. We have to do a couple more steps. The first one, and you're going to get very comfortable with this. First one's we're going to say, hey, get all the files and folders and gather them together because we want to commit them to the database. So let's go ahead and do git add dot. All right. So git add, and then the dot says everything. If we want to use a specific folder like manage.py, we do something like that. But we want everything. So we're going to say put git add period for everything. All right, so now it marked all those files that are new to be committed to our database. So how do we commit it? We go git commit, and then we're going to do -m. So we're going to leave a message, and we're going to say initial commit. All right, and this is just to indicate to us if we go back and look at our files, we know this is our initial commit, and this is the initial file that holds our setup. So we'll go ahead and hit that, and you can see the initial commit, 5 files changed, 179 insertions, and it created manage.py, create template, init py, settings.py, urls.py, and wsgi.py. All right, cool. So it created it to the database. So now we have saved our initial build of our Django project. So if anything goes wrong in the next couple steps, we can come back to this point, and we don't have to go through creating another Django project. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, check out the next tutorial where we discuss what all these files mean, and then we'll move on to building our template from there. Have a nice one.